Good morning, everybody. Good morning, fellow traders. It is Monday, January 7th, 5:45 a.m. on the West Coast Pacific Time. I am Jonathan van Clute for Stock Navigators, reminding you to please do subscribe to the channel, give us a like if you like the video, and give us a comment, especially if you happen to be here live at this terribly early hour of the morning. If you're crazy enough to be up watching the pre-market action, I'd love to hear from you and know that you're here. That would be cool. And with that, let's start by taking a look at the S&P 500, as I always do. So first thing is we are in a bit of a rally mode right now. Obviously, we have been, making some reversal here of the big down move, and we do have a higher high, a higher low, and at the moment a higher high. But if you recall your Dow theory, it requires a minimum of two higher highs and higher lows to technically be considered a change in trend. So we're not quite there yet, technically speaking, but it is close. So now is the time to watch very closely and see what happens. Do we get a little further move up before a retracement happens, or is the retracement already starting right here? Whoops, I'm not running my pen. Sorry about that. There it is. Let me just real quick get my color and my disappearing ink. Come on. There we go. All right. So that's kind of what I'm watching for in the ES. Is this already the start of our retracement? And are we ready to come down and potentially make a higher low? If it's able to make a higher low and then break the higher high, then we have a trend reversal. And we can officially actually say that this downtrend move, this big correction, it has changed, and we're looking to continue to the upside. But on the other hand, if we retrace and take out this low, then any hope of this being a reversal of the whole downtrend is dashed. And now we're looking for, does it challenge this low here, or does it make a new higher low? And then this actually would become the first higher low. We would have the low, the higher high, and then the higher low here. So those are the scenarios I'm looking to play out. Consider also that we have a big sell zone here that we are butting our head into, and we also have a buy zone down below that could act as very strong support. So we've got these two areas that right now price is just sandwiched between. We're also being held down by the 21 EMA. You can see that price poked above it and then slammed right back down below it. And this is, of course, the daily 21 EMA. So right now, daily 21 EMA is doing a decent job of acting as kind of dynamic resistance. Navigator is gaining in strength, but we can see what's happened in the past. It has gained in strength, retraced a little, gained in strength, almost even got to the zero line, and still was not able to do much. It just, kept butting its head up against the sell zone up here and then just sold off significantly until we got these magenta exhaustion warnings here. So just because Navigator's trending up does not mean all is rosy, and we're just looking for continued upside from here. We might, but we got to wait and see what price wants to give us. On the shorter term intraday chart, we have hopped over a sell zone here, and we are holding right above it. We came back, tested it as support. At the moment, it's holding, but this is, overnight action. And as you can see here, overnight, we did have quite a bit of exhaustion warning telling us that, this move here, this push up wasn't likely to continue and needed to take a breather. So it looks to be doing that, but of course this is just overnight action. We need to wait until the proper session starts and see what happens. And if the regular session opens and we shove down below this sell zone, well, then we can expect some continuation down move. And next we'll be looking to possibly test this level here. I mean, maybe this one here too. This is a more minor area here, but certainly could test and stall a little bit somewhere around there as well if it's able to get down through this buy zone, what is now a buy zone and was a sell zone as price was heading up into it. So keep an eye on those general areas. Right now on the shorter term, the 60, the 21 EMA is acting as support. Remains to be seen what's going to happen once the regular session actually opens and we get some movement coming into the market. But mostly that is what I'm going to be looking for is what does it want to do with this area here? And does it want to challenge these highs here and give us some continuation to the upside? So, but keep in mind, any continuation to the upside could just go a little ways and then get stopped because of the sell zone here. So, also notice the top of the box is right in the middle of the sell zone. So, it'd be not unreasonable for price to come up here and maybe hit the top of the box and then roll over for that retracement and maybe a higher low, or maybe take out this low here. So quite a few things to keep an eye on here for the ES this morning and really all week. So we'll just have to see what the price action wants to do once the market starts to move. Let's take a look at crude oil. Come on, there we go. And crude is just continuing to bounce off of the buy zone that was down here, and it did manage to come down all the way, to about 42 or so, and that area, and then it bounced pretty good off of that. Now we're up, looking at testing that sort of 50 psychological level. 50 is kind of that magic number you always hear: $50 a barrel, $50 a barrel. And that is a key level for a lot of people. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens when price gets a little maybe closer to that. Or maybe it's even already challenged it. Is it ready for a retracement? Because again, we need to start establishing a pattern of higher highs and higher lows to actually be in a reversal and starting an uptrend. And so far, I don't really see that yet. I mean, you could perhaps argue that this is the absolute low. This is maybe the higher, or the first high. You could say, okay, this is the higher low, and then this is a higher high, but then we still need to see a higher low in order to actually have two higher highs and two higher lows to establish a reversal. If this retraces and comes back down to maybe test the buy zone again and maybe double bottoms down here, then this is negated, and we've got the low, the high, and then that would be the first higher low. So we still don't have an uptrend established quite yet. We've also got this big chunky area here that is certainly a resistance zone. A lot of congestion in there as price just held for a good long while, kind of stuck in that area. And I'd be definitely looking for a repeat of that. Even if price does continue up, I would look for it to get kind of stuck and maybe stall or pause in this area. That being said, of course, there's always the possibility that something happens, especially in oil. It's so news driven, so politics driven. Some event occurs, something happens in the Middle East, who knows what, and all of a sudden price just breaks right on through that and keeps on trucking. So definitely keep an eye on your price action. That is going to be your best indication of what is happening. On the shorter term time frame, we've got this upwards rising trend line, and so far price has been just following along with it quite nicely. Navigator is very strong on the 60-minute. Keeping in mind, however, that we are still red on the daily. So bearish Navigator on the daily. We're not suddenly in bull territory yet. But on the 60, we're definitely looking good. That's what's causing this upwards movement, upwards trajectory on the Navigator. But of course, it could get up near the zero line and then fail and roll over. So keep that in mind. Trade accordingly. On a 60-minute chart anyway, the bulls are certainly in charge. No question we have a pattern of higher highs and higher lows. There's definitely no doubt about that. So that is what we're in. We're in a 60-minute bull trend, and we are still in a daily bear trend at the moment. So just keep those things in mind. Right now, we have climbed over a series of boxes on the 60, and it looks like a little hard to see unless I zoom in. I think we have a new box that formed. Yeah, there's a new box that formed just in the last couple of hours. And right now we are just floating around inside of it. So need to see a break of that box and a takeout of these highs here in order to really establish an upwards trajectory. So that is what I will be watching for. All right, let's take a look at gold, see what's going on there. And gold is, still hanging in there on the bullish side with all the uncertainty in the market. That's not all that surprising, but it's getting close to a sell zone up here overhead from back here. So keep that in your sights and watch out if price, even it does rally up into this area. Sit tight. If you've got a good profit on the board, think about taking it perhaps, and then wait and see what wants to happen. Does something happen to cause gold to just burst through this level and march higher? Great. Otherwise, if it fails somewhere in here and starts to roll over again, then you can look for a significant correction of some kind from there, possibly getting back down into this channel somewhere. Gold certainly was liking to stay in that channel for a while. So if it gets back down into that again, I'd be looking for it to again continue to channel. That being said, it is an upwards sloping channel, so it is still bullish. 21 EMA rather on the daily is certainly up. We've got an upwards pointing trajectory on that. So at the moment, anyway, on the daily, we are in. We had our low, we had our high, we had our higher low, a higher high, a higher low, etc. So we are in a bull trend right now on the daily. But the Navigator's up in the 30s, it's starting to get a little bit into overbought territory. It's not really there yet, but it is, kind of in the upper end of the range. So to me, that says, we might be able to see something to push up into this sell zone, which would be reasonable and make sense anyway, and then possibly correct from there. We'll have to wait and see what the daily wants to give us. On the 60, we've got an overhead sell zone just right here. And price right now is marching towards it. Navigator did cross the zero line and did that overnight. Basically, our European friends caused that push to happen. So Navigator right now is wanting to show some strength. We are above the 21 EMA, and it has curved upwards. And we'll need to see price, I'm going to guess, probably pull back, test that line is what I would expect to see, and then either hold and continue higher or break below, and perhaps we've got a move to the downside ready to brew. If I zoom out a little bit, we can get an idea of where we had a buy zone down here, which we did break above and come back down to. Weren't able quite to test it. Price did not get actually all the way down to it, but got pretty close and then reversed. So it would be perfectly reasonable maybe to see if price is not able to hold up. And right now, I mean, we have this big failure wick right here. Price shot up and then sellers just slammed it back down again. So it's kind of looking to me like sellers don't want to let it get much higher than this at the moment. So it wouldn't be unreasonable at all for price to roll down, correct, and possibly maybe retest this level here, or maybe even retest this for sort of a double bottom down in this area. Retest maybe the bottom of the box, something like that. But right now, definitely kind of sandwiched between these two zones, and Navigator was wanting to hold to the upside. I mean, we had obviously a lot of upside Navigator back here on the 60, and did dip below it pretty significantly, but then came right up above it again. So the bulls aren't wanting to give up quite so easily. They're definitely hanging in there. So we'll have to just let the price tell us what it wants to do, and look for some kind of conviction, one direction or the other. And if you are looking to make a trade in the gold markets, then you've got a couple of reasonable possible target areas to be looking at. So have an idea of what your risk reward might be, and then trade accordingly. All right, natural gas. Natural gas is, oops, come on. There we go. So natural gas is down in this blue area here that I have marked. And what that is, let me zoom out. There we go. What that is really this whole quadrant back here. I'll zoom out even a little further, or even a little further than that. There we go. It's really kind of this whole region back here. I'm just at the moment treating this whole area as just sort of all one big zone, because it was just kind of sideways. It didn't really trend at all in here. It was just in a sideways sort of a channel, kind of two different levels. There was this level down here, and then the whole channel. But anyway, point is that this whole area just kind of caused the market to go sideways, and right now we're back in that area. So I wouldn't be at all surprised to see it just kind of hang out in this zone for a while, move sideways before deciding, what does it want to do on a trending basis? Does it want to actually pick up and move one way or the other? Now let's zoom back in a little bit again. Idea of what's going on. So to the upside, we've also got kind of this area here. Definitely a lot of sideways action there. So, and we even gapped kind of through it here. So if price is able to get up here, I would not be at all surprised to see it get kind of stuck in this zone here. It's not technically a sell zone, but it's certainly a resistance area. So I would be looking to that to the upside. If price does push up there, it's definitely going to be in some resistance. And if price is able to get down kind of to the bottom of this area here, I would expect some resistance as well, or rather some support, I should say. And if it's able to break that, then we might establish a trending move to the downside. But right this moment, anyway, it's wait and see. We're just kind of going sideways, not a lot happening. It's not a real clear indication of which direction this market wants to go right now. So it's not in any obvious trade that I see right now. Technically speaking, we are still in a downtrend. We're lower lows and lower highs. So from that standpoint, obviously the 21 EMA is also pointing down. So the bears are in control, but like I said, we're in this sort of support zone, you could call it here, and I would just be mindful of that. On a 60-minute, there's a lot more going on because, of course, there's a lot more detail to be had. We have a sell zone kind of right overhead, and we did come up in the last few sessions and test into that zone and then not able to get through it. So right now there's a lot of resistance overhead there. We've got another sell zone up here. Then, of course, we've got this whole big gap area here. And then there's another sell zone up here. So there's a lot of stuff overhead for natural gas to have to climb through. And right now, it looks to me like the path of least resistance is to the downside. That's not to say that I see an obvious bearish trade to be had right now. I would need to see it take out, these levels here, these lows here to even consider anything like that. If we zoom out a bit, oops, see that there's, that is all the data. Actually, no, I do have a little bit more data. I just have to drag it. Is there anything more to the left? No, that's it. That's all the data I got loaded, and that's the level I'm looking at for to get bearish. Is it really would need to take out these lows and do so with some conviction. Otherwise, you just get a little false breakout, and then it comes right back in again. So right now, just kind of hugging the 21 EMA. You can see price not really in a trending mode at all. It's just going sideways. So just sit tight. If you're looking to trade natural gas and you're not in a trade currently, I would say sit tight and let price show you which direction it wants to go, and then see if you want to get on board with it. And last but not least, Bitcoin. Finish up with crypto. Bitcoin is continuing to rally. We've got the beginnings of what could be deemed a reversal on a daily basis. We have the absolute low down here. We have a high and a first higher low. And now we need to make a higher high and a higher low and then break that. And so there's a ways to go. Bitcoin is not suddenly in a bull market or anything by any stretch. We've got this level here to take out. If price can do that, if this becomes a higher high at the higher low, if we can establish a higher high, maybe somewhere up here above this high, and then come back down and establish a higher low again, then we've got a good chance of challenging this level, and then ultimately all of this back here. And then we've got to get over these sell zones here. It's got a lot to do. There's a lot of climbing yet to happen for Bitcoin to really establish anything to the upside. But check this out. Navigator is wanting to cross the zero line. It's trying. Again, that's not to say that a zero line crossing is an automatic bull market or anything. I mean, we can see what happened here. We had a great zero crossing, very strong to the upside, and all that did was set up the next down move. So don't mistake a cross of the zero line. We had a little one here too. Don't mistake a cross of the zero line as now we're in a bull market. That's not the case. But certainly higher highs and higher lows, that is what we're looking for. So keep an eye on that. If, on the other hand, Bitcoin falls, breaks this buy zone here, and heads below these lows, well, then the any hope of reversal is off, and we are looking to head further downside. And if I remember correctly, I think somewhere around 2,600 or something like that was where I had another buy zone. I didn't. Oh, it's not drawn on here. That's right, because I don't have enough data. It doesn't go back that far in TradeStation. So I believe I drew it in TradingView. But anyway, certainly watch those lows. That's your area. That's your key level you're looking at. And if it breaks that, then there's probably going to be some continued downside. But right now, anyway, the bulls are trying hard. But keep an eye on that high right there. That is going to be very significant and very important for Bitcoin to get over. On a 60-minute, of course, there's no shortage of volatility as usual. You get these huge moves like this one. I mean, that's a what is that? The 38 and change, 38 and a quarter maybe to almost 4,100. So, a few 100-point move in an hour, that's a heck of a move. And Bitcoin has a tendency to do that. There's that one, there was this one, that was a pretty good one, there's that one. So it does this a lot. And if you're just poised to grab them when they happen, then there's certainly a slice of the pie that you can grab. Now, notice that it did go right up into the sell zone and then just go sideways, and now it's coming out of the zone. So right now, anyway, we do have a sell zone right overhead on the 60. So I would expect to see maybe a bit of a retracement here, retrace some of this huge up candle here. I would not be at all surprised to see that. And that would potentially set us up to come down maybe near the zero line and then continue and kind of recharge for another push higher. I could see that happening. We did get all the way up to over 50, which was hugely overbought. And we had a lot of magenta warnings, lots of indications saying, watch out, watch out, watch out. And as the market just kind of went sideways here. So beware of the sell zone overhead. In order for Bitcoin to really have any continued upside right now in the shorter term, it's gonna have to get over that sell zone. That being said, this uprising trend line is holding. You can see price came right down to it and then bounced. The 21 EMA is also doing a decent job of acting as dynamic support. So there are factors in favor of both arguments, bull and bear, right now, and they're both pretty compelling. I see that as a wait and see. If I do not have a position on currently, which I don't, then I would be looking to wait for price action to give me some kind of a sign as to which way it really wants to go, and then look for an entry. And if you've already decided, if you already have the bias that this is the beginnings of the uptrend here, we're going to head higher from here. That 21 EMA right there, that could be good enough for you. And maybe that's an entry right there, right on that 21 EMA. You could put your stop maybe just outside the trend line here, something like that. Fairly defined risk, and if you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, then there could be some significant upside to be had. So, same thing with the bearish argument. You could potentially let price come back up into the sell zone and see about going short if you have the ability to short Bitcoin, or just to sell some if you have a profit. You can put your stop right outside the zone, and same scenario. You've got a defined risk and potentially greater upside. So keep an eye on those levels and see what the price action wants to do. Right now, anyway, we're setting up for the morning session to get going, and not a whole lot has changed in the S&P in the last 15 minutes that I've been talking, 20 minutes. But I'm waiting to see what it wants to do once the market gets open. So I'm going to get ready for my trading day. Opening bell is in what is that, 22 minutes. So I look forward to a good trading day ahead. I hope you do as well. Again, reminder to just please do like, comment, and subscribe. Give us some feedback on these videos, on how they're helpful to you if they are, or what we could do different to help more. And make sure to click that little alarm bell if you want to get actually notified when I'm about to be going live. Right now, the schedule is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 5:45 a.m. So that being said, I'm going to go get ready for the trading day. And until Wednesday morning at 5:45, trade well. Take care.